at that point. As you progress during a profitable streak in your trading, you become a little more different, a little more different, a little more different, a little more different. The same mentality that created the beginning of this profitable run is not the same. It's no longer present, actually. It took me a number of years to really see this. And I discovered it when I would look, I started delving into my trading to determine why is it that my biggest disasters always occur after I've had a good period. Like, why is that? Why is it that disasters wipe out a good portion of all the hard work I've done? And so if I had like a 3-week winning streak, I'd ultimately have this disastrous setback that would wipe out the vast majority of it. And almost all traders go through a period like that. And so through this really detailed analysis into my trading records back over years, I just came up with that theory. I realized that the higher you go, the harder you can fall. So I started looking at how do you neutralize that cycle? How can I have a profitable streak but sidestep the disaster? And you have to do it through time and through a reset. So you can do it through time by just not trading for a while. And time neutralizes or resets that whole overbought scenario that your mind is in, right? The other way you can neutralize it is by bringing yourself back to a more cautious, careful way of trading. Because after a profitable streak, you are more aggressive, you are trading bigger. And so forcing yourself to go back to trading as if you already got hurt is the reset. And those are the two ways that I have found that I can sidestep those disasters that undo great work. All right. Yeah, sound is usually an issue that is on your end, usually, not all the time. All right, guys, so I want to do something here. What I want to do is I want to build on a theme that I started with you a while ago. And actually, we touched upon it in the last trade review. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Wait a minute, give me a second here, guys. No. Let's make sure to change the size here. Give me a moment. Get some charts up here for us. All right. Image should be there right now. Just if you could let me know if you see it. All right. All right, now guys, let's delve back into this. I want to thoroughly, in a very detailed way, fully complete this concept that I touched upon in the last review of Richard's trade with PayPal. Remember I told you that I wanted you to come away with 2 points, and one of those points was that big bars shoot their power to the right. So let me get my pen here. And I want to thoroughly complete this concept with you because it's a concept that I'm telling you I would say it's responsible for maybe a little bit more than a third of my entire career's profitability. That's huge. This concept right here, a third of my profitability is somehow tied to this concept. And if you have this, I think it's going to be virtually the same for you. That you're going to find so many amazing opportunities through this concept. And you got to get yourself to a place where you see it naturally. But this is the start. So big bars shoot their power to the right. Now, I want you to take a look at PayPal's first big bar of that day. We've gone over this in the review, but we're going to go over it in a more detailed fashion here. So I've got a little bit more time in 7 minutes, right? So fat, giant red bar. Now, when I say that fat bars shoot their power to the right, it's not exactly straight. It's in the direction of the bar. So this bar is fat and it's down. So it's shooting its power to the right, but in a downward fashion. So there's pressure on the market this way. You see, it's shooting pressure to the right, but downward in the direction of the bar. And it's almost, you can look at it like a force field, right? That it's shooting a force field to the right in a downward fashion. Now, if we had a green fat bar, it would be shooting its power to the right, but in a slightly upward fashion. Very different, all right? We'll take a look at that. But right now, I want to focus on this PayPal one. Now, this force field of pressure to the right, slightly to the downside and to the right, this creates a very thick, powerful force field that green has a hard time breaking through. You see, that it's not just one line, it's all the way through that red bar. So it's multiple streams of a negative resistance-like force field. And when stocks try to penetrate that force field, a very high percentage of the time, it's short-lived. So take a look. Boing. It just comes right into that force field. Boing. All right. Now, a lot of them don't get very far through the force field. Every now and then, you get a move that penetrates halfway into the force field. Rarer is a lot more, right? But guys, this force field concept, this big bars shoot their power to the right. So now moves back into the force field are not something you should be afraid of, not something that should freak you out, not something that should make you scared. In fact, it should be something that you should use to add to your position if you already have it, or to enter a new position if you don't have it. That force field is an opportunity zone. And what a lot of people don't understand is that, for instance, if I get short into this bar right there, like right around where Richard got short into the bar, you saw the collapse. This bar was not finished. He enters into the collapse. He's seen enough. He's got enough of a force field now. That force field is thick enough above him, right? I actually, if I were to get short, I hope and pray there's a movement up into the force field, because that's just going to allow me the opportunity to get more and more and more before the next collapse. So think about this, traders. I want to be negative if there's a force field above me. I'm going to repeat that. If I enter a play with a force field above me, I want to be negative first. I want the stock to go into that negative force field. And this is what novice onlookers don't understand when they watch my trading. And they say, Oliver trades very sloppily. He's always negative first, and then he has to come back. No, I want to be negative. What are you talking about? There's a certain negative that you want to be when it's negative in a force field. And that's right. You've got to operate this with, Jonathan, that's right. You've got to operate this with a maximum loss per trade. You can't do it indiscriminately, of course. Absolutely. Does this make sense so far, what I'm explaining to you? How big bars shoot their power to the right a little downward, creating a thick force field. That green will be short-lived. The force field is applying pressure downward, downward, downward. All right? And so, look at these attempts. Let's complete the downward. So it's, see, the bottom of that first red bar is here, right? And the top of it is here. So look, it comes right to the force field and drops. Right to the force field and drops. So don't forget this. Fat bars, fat red bars, shoot a negative resistance-like force field to the right and downward. The pressure is down, so that green movements up cannot be believed. The only way they're believed is if they break that force field down. And sometimes that happens, but it's very rare. It's much rarer than it just serving as a bounce off the force field. All right. Let's take a look at something else. The 200-period moving average. Now, when your 200-period moving average is above the stock, this is another force field throwing item. The overhead 200-period moving average, particularly if it's flattish. Flattish. Not like this, but flattish. This is a flattish 200-period moving average. Fat bars throw force fields, and the 200 throws a force field when it is flattish. And when the 200 is above the stock, it throws its force field straight down. It's applying pressure downward. See? And so any movements back into that force field, any green movements back in that force field, are going to start having, most of the time, some serious problems. Because that force field, I don't know how to make force field sound, but like think of Star Wars. And those little wands, I don't know how to make that sound, but that stock comes into that force field, and this powerful force field-like sound kicks off, and the pressure is on the green now. And that force field usually knocks that green back down. But get this. Oh my God. Get this, traders. Look at what you have with the big bar force field and the 200-period moving average force field. Oh my God. You've got double force field. You got not only the 200 shooting power to the downside, you got the fat bar shooting power slightly downward to the right side. You've got a double force field. Like, guys, look, all you need for this to be tremendously reliable is one force field. But every now and then, you get two force fields coming together. It's like your eyes go as close to 100 as possible. Now, this is why, in my opinion, this stock could barely cross the first layer of the force field. It's too thick. It's too powerful. Now, are there exceptions? Of course, life is always contains exceptions. Is there anything 100%? No, except death and taxes maybe. But in the market, absolutely nothing. You have to be willing to give your trade up to above the force field, above the big bar. All right? You just have to. Now, let's try to get to the exceptions later if we can. I'm going to finish this. I don't want to cut you off. We are in somewhat of a time limit. But now let's go, guys. Let's go to, wait a minute. Let's go to Baba. Look at Baba. Now, that was PayPal. Now look at Baba. Look at your fat red bar off the open. This is off the open, the 16th. Okay. fat red bar. When is your bar big enough to have a decent force field? That's the key. Because first this bar is red up to here, then it's red up to here. At what point you say, okay, I got enough of a force field. I'm diving into that bar because the force field above me is thick enough. You see, that's the key. When is your bar big enough? Boom, say, okay, I'm going to trust this force field now above me. I got enough of a force field above me. Nothing's getting through that. In addition, I've got the 200-period moving average force field shooting downward. So not only this to the right and downward, I've got the 200. Boom, 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 boom. Now with this double deep layer of a force field, your BABA couldn't even come close to penetrating. All right. All right. Is this concept the same like the wall, but even better? Well, yeah, because look, you're combining it with the 200-period moving average. This is taking the wall concept to a whole different level. So this zone here, any movement up is an opportunity. Now you understand why sometimes if I get into a play like this, boom, boom, in this bar here, I automatically throw more orders up the bar so that if the stock bounces, I'm getting more and more and more and more before what is likely to be a hard collapse. All right. It seems like I have to answer this question every single time. Juan, I'd like us to create sort of like a frequently asked question thing so we don't have to repeat a lot of these things, but I'm glad to do it until we get there. The question is, I'm learning Forex. Does this apply to Forex? Everything I teach you applies to anything on the planet Earth that human beings trade back and forth. So we're not really trading Forex or stocks or options or bonds or Bitcoin or futures. We're trading people. So it doesn't matter what people put in their hands to trade. People are the same. So the same concepts that are designed to trade these people, we're trading people. Remember that. You can get very confused when you lose sight of the fact that you're trading people and not the item that the people have, not the items that they have in their hands. The item can't move itself. If you were to put a stock certificate on your kitchen table, it wouldn't move. It takes human interaction to trade that certificate back and forth that causes the movements. So then the movements aren't the stock certificate. The movements are the people's actions. And so all of the tactics are based on those human actions. And those human actions don't change because I change from a stock certificate to a Forex pair. I'm the same human with the same fears, the same hopes, the same desires, the same tendencies, the same frailties, the same faults, the same emotional makeup, the same psychological bag of tricks. So everything I teach you, remember, will be universal across all markets and all time frames. Learn these things and you can go anywhere. It's like having a passport to travel to any market in the world. All right. I know I beat that horse pretty bad, but as it were, but I just want you to get that point. All right. You're trading people. Oh, that's a great question. Sebastian was asking me, Oliver, how long does this force field last? That's a great question. It's different every stock, actually. But let's put it this way. The further you get away from the origin of the force field, the less potent it becomes. Just remember that. You can't really know exactly when it ends. It ends right there, so there's no more force field. No, but just know that the further away, the less powerful the force field. So the force field is the most powerful there. And there's a very simple reason why. That this force field is nothing more than negative memory. Think of all the people who own this stock, what they are. No, think of all the people. Alibaba gaps up here at the open. Think of all the people who bought at the open. And then some bought a little bit lower and some bought a little bit lower. Think of all these people who bought here. What are they feeling after this 2-minute collapse? They're feeling freaking dead wrong. Not wrong, dead wrong. So now any bounce to get part of their loss back will be met with them saying, at least I got part of it back. At least I got part of it back. At least I got part of my loss back. And so those up here are the ones applying the pressure. As the stock moves up, they're getting their money back. But the further you get out here, the more likely that these people are already out. They've already taken their loss or gotten a portion of their money back already. So you don't have the same people applying this force field effect. Does that make sense a little bit? That it's the people that are hurt right now that are the ones forming the force field. You see how simple the game becomes when you start looking at it like, I'm not trading Baba, I'm trading these people right here who bought at the open. What are they going to do on a bounce, Sal? They got hurt. They want their money back. So the game becomes much simpler when you flip it to, you take it away from, I'm trading earnings, I'm trading good news, bad news, I'm trading products, I'm trading good management, no, you're trading freaking people. Well, Eunice, that's what you have to decide. You see, Eunice was saying, Oliver, can you help me understand when the bar is big enough to have a force field? And I'm going to Eunice, I don't want you to take offense at what I'm going to say. I always find an opportunity to just bring this point out, and you just happen to be the one to help me bring the point out today. That I never get these types of questions from my 10-year-old traders, my 11-year-olds, my 12-year-olds. They never ask me this. They never say, how big is big? They just look at the chart in a simple child's way and say, wow, Oliver, that's a big bar. They don't say, well, what ratio? What's the formula? Can you give me a number? That's complicated adult thinking, right? That's complicating things. Just when is the bar like, wow, that's a fat bar? Be like a 10-year-old child, Eunice. Like, look at this bar compared to this bar and this one. It's clearly fat and big, right? But look at this bar. It's clearly not fat and big. So my 10-year-olds don't do this. Right? They just say, wow, that's fat. No, this is little. That's not fat. They keep it simple. I want you to keep it simple. All right. Now, let's go to the other side of this. You're quite well. Let's go to the other side of this. Let's go to JD. No, I'm not good. Yeah, let's go to JD, because the reason why I want to go to JD here is I want to bring up one other concept for you. One other piece of knowledge. When your stock gaps, you can have a gap to the upside or a gap to the downside. I want you filling the gap in. When your stock gaps, at least in your mind, I want you filling the gap in as if it didn't gap. I'm going to say it one last time. If your stock gaps, up or down, doesn't matter. I want you filling the gap in, at least in your mind, as if it didn't gap. So look at JD. JD gaps. This was yesterday's close, and it gaps here. This is the open of the following morning. Close here yesterday, open this morning. Now fill the gap in as if it traded down there, not gap down there. Now fill it in. Let's fill it in. Now, what scenario do you have now? The scenario we've been talking about all morning. You got the double force field scenario. With that red bar shooting power to the right, but slightly downward. You got the 200 shooting power downward. You got the double force field. So that now movement's up. Look at the movement up. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Get more. Boom. Do you see it? If you let me know, do you see it? This is crazy, guys. You understand? It's crazy. It's mouth-watering crazy to me. It's the scenario for me that's so, like, I get so giddy because it's like, how can making money like this be so easy? Now, I usually never use that term, but when it comes to the double force field, it's freaking easy. I usually say trading is simple. It's not easy. But with the double force field, it's like, don't ignore bounces. Ignore bounces into the double force field. Don't get scared by them. In fact, use them to get more. That's right. Chris says, Oliver, I've seen you do this a lot. Absolutely. All right. We got a fast track account, 225 maximum loss is better if we sell for some. Yeah, 225 is an okay maximum loss per trade. I mean, yeah, 225. Yeah, that's okay. All right, what have I found to be the odds of this not working? And that's pretty much the question, right, Mike? Is that what you're really asking? All right. I found this to be accurate, pretty close to the 90th percentile, and that's crazy. And there aren't many things that high. But I found it for me accurate, pretty close. I wouldn't say 90% of the time, but pretty close to 90%. High 80s. Now you can make a fortune with that, guys. There are trading systems that make millions of dollars that are right 38% of the time, 38% of the time, which means that 62% of the time they're wrong, but they still make millions of dollars because that 38% of the time when they're right big. So imagine something that's close to 90%. It's just freaking crazy. You know? Now remember, the further you get to the right, the less effect this has. So look, this just goes right through it. It's too far away from it. So we're only talking about kind of, you know, in that relative where they're still feeling the pain, you know? All right. All right. Now let's look at the upside. And what I want you to do, you're looking at Qualcomm now, a company called Qualcomm. I want you to look at the open on the 10th. And I want you to go to work. It's the open on the 10th. Now go to work. What's the first thing you do? Give me the first act that you do. That's right. PC got it right. That's right. Fill it in. Let's fill it in. Gap to the upside. Fill that baby in. Now shoot your force field to the right, but slightly up. Okay. Okay. What's the next thing you do? In your mind, at least. You should know this now. That's right. Gary got it. Gary got it. Shoot that force field up from the 200. Mentally create that double force field mindset so that now you know that pullbacks are nothing to be afraid of. Do you want to short this top and tail bar? Is that a good play? No, because the best play is to buy in the force field. The force field is fighting the short. All right. All right. You're getting this. I love it. Do you see your buy entry point? Tell me what it is. Let's come from way over here. That's right. That's your missile. You're sending your missile. Boom! Boom! And here's somewhere up here. Boom! Take it and go to the beach. Away from the swing. I love it, guys. I love it. My God. Some of you probably still don't understand how valuable this is. But think about this, the money that this will give you for the rest of your living days, for the rest of your trading life. Think about it. Think about all the trading opportunities forever from this point onward. Think about the money that can be made and grabbed from this concept from this day forward forever. It's crazy. One powerful, frequently occurring thing can make you very wealthy. And here, you're going to get many powerful things over time. So if one can do it, imagine the many. It's crazy. 33 years talking to you guys, Philip, figuring all of this stuff out, losing fortunes. There's a lot that went into this so that you don't have to go through it. Last example of the day. Here's Micron, MU. Go to work. Kenny's asking what would be an exception. What do you mean what would be an exception? If the force field is broken. Did I miss something? That's your exception when it's broken. If 90% of the time force fields aren't broken and then one breaks, that's your exception. Unless I misunderstood the question. All right, guys, go to work. Wait. No, I didn't finish yet. Go to work here on Micron. Go to work. What do you do? Fill in. All right. I'm not done with you yet. Because here's yesterday's close, right? So fill that in. Fill that bad boy in right there. Ah. All right. Now create that first layer of the force field, right? In your mind at least. All right, you got it. Now the second force field, the 200. Now you got your double layer. Now this drop would scare you before this. Oh my God. So let's say you bought this bar. Before, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm losing money. Oh my God, I should kill this. This is wrong. And then you kill it. Let me get out of this. Let me cut my losses short. Oliver says keep my losses short. Small. That's you before. That's you before the force field, right? You're like, I'm not getting stopped out in the double force field. No way. Do you see your buy point? All right, come from way over here. You know where to come from. Send that buy missile. Send your coordinates. Coordinates accepted. Boom! Oh, wait a minute. Bull 180 out of the force field? What? Not only is the Bull 180 the most powerful event in existence, but the Bull 180 out of the force field? Just dump it all. Dump it all in. There's certain moments where it's okay. There are certain moments when it's okay. Boom! As I've always said, if you can track two lines, the 20-period moving average and the 200-period moving average, boys and girls, if you can track two colors, red bars and green bars, boys and girls, and if you can track two positions above the moving averages and below the moving averages, boys and girls, and if you can track two states near the moving averages and far away from the moving averages, boys and girls, if you can follow these twos, two colors, two moving averages, two positions, two states, you can play this game like a pro. It is only when you begin to overcomplicate it beyond the twos two colors, two moving averages, two positions above and below, and two states, near and far, or wide and narrow. That's our lesson for today, guys. I love you to death. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let's get ready to knock them dead tomorrow. Yeah.